So first, I just want to say what a privilege it is to be here today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth Purvis. I'm the CEO of Chicago International Charter School. But more importantly, I'm a mother. I'm a mother of 2 children, ages 7 and 9, who just happen to be on the waiting list for a CICS campus and have been for the last 3 years. And I lead with that because I think in everything we do, we need to think about those children we love. We need to think about our schools as schools for our children, not their children. So the mission of CICS is to provide, through innovation and choice, an attractive and rigorous college preparatory education for today's children. Basically, what does that mean? That means that we want a network of schools in which we would be proud to enroll our children every day. It means we want a network of schools where our 8th graders graduate from elementary school ready for a rigorous high school experience and graduate from college with many choices, with the ability to go to the best fit college or university, graduate, and live their dreams. Now, for those of you who are new, there are all sorts of acronyms going on, and we've got the gobbledygook. We got CICS, we got CSUSA, we have all of these. So a quick understanding of how this works is that CICS is the charter holder. We have the contract with the Chicago Public Schools to run schools of choice for the Chicago Public Schools, and we actually also have a school in Rockford. CICS, the innovative part of CICS, is one of the things that we do is that we hire high-quality school management organizations or charter management organizations, sometimes called educational management organizations, to run the day-to-day operations of the schools. Because we believe that there should be choice within choice. We don't actually think there's one right way to educate kids. We think there are a lot of great ways to educate kids. So we have 5 different partners, of which one is CSUSA. And if you want to learn more about the others, go on our website, which, by the way, is streaming this live right now. Because what's important is not the CICS moniker or the CSUSA moniker. It's the moniker on every one of your schools. It's CICS Lloyd Bond. It's CICS Larry Hawkins. It's CICS Loomis. It's CICS Longwood, all managed by CSUSA, because we're in this together. We are one team. And you have an incredible team. What we've been hearing about today is, I've been hearing the words trust, cooperation, care. We've been hearing treatment fidelity. We've been hearing data-driven instruction. But what we've been hearing is, how do we create a network of schools that we would put any child we love in? Because if it's not good enough for my kids, it's not good enough for anyone's kids. And that's why CSUSA is our partner. People say, why CSUSA? Why are they part of your network? And I want to tell you a little story of why. A few years ago, I've been with CICS for 11 years, and my partner in crime for 10 of those years, actually for all 11, was Erin Lanou. And Erin and I have worked together really closely over the years. And a few years ago, we started seeing our original goal was for us to have the best choice in every neighborhood that we were in, which is a lofty goal, and we've accomplished it. The problem is that's not good enough. And a few years ago, we started a new strategic plan. And you have to know about Erin and me, we're not really big on the process. We're really good on the outcomes. That's what we're focused on. And over the last 3 years, CICS has actually changed the management partners of 11 of our 16 campuses. And why did we do it? Because simply being better than the school down the street wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough for us to say, this is where children we love should go. So we had some new partners. But we really needed to find someone who did the whole K-12 system well. and who especially understood the complexity of running high schools and middle schools. So Erin and I want to tell you, we looked around the country with some of our other colleagues, and what we found were a couple of things. There are not many people or many organizations who run really high-quality high schools at scale. There are not many who can do it on the per pupil that we have here in Chicago, that's for sure. And there are not many people who are willing to take the risk to come to a complex environment like Chicago and make it work. So we went down, we were introduced to Charter Schools USA, and we went down, and if you know Erin and me, we were going down, we weren't really expecting that much because we figured they have really good, glossy stuff. But I want to see the schools. I want to see the data. And we walked, and Erin actually went down before I did the first time. That's how much I believed. I'm like, you guys go down, tell me if it's any good. And I was getting texts and emails through their visit. So then I came down. And, you know, I met everybody, we had the nice dinners, we had the dog and pony show, and then I got tours of the schools. And any of you know who know me, if you tell me to go into classroom X, I'm going into classroom Y. And I wandered the schools, and I saw schools that I would want my children to go to. And I met principals and teachers who cared deeply about what they were doing. And that's when we said, we want CSUSA as a CICS partner. Now, I want to tell you, we talk about choice and courage. CSUSA did not need to come to Chicago. They didn't need to come to the complex neighborhoods in which you guys work every day. And they had huge growth going on. And so I have to tell you, we had to twist their arm a little bit to say, we need you here. Our kids need you here. Our parents need you here. Our teachers need you here. And we convinced them. And let's all be honest, it was a little rocky the first year. We had not set CSUSA up for success, and it was hard for them. Chicago's a different world. You can't just walk in. But we talk about perseverance and choice. So I want to start with the fact that Sherry and John and CSUSA chose to come to Chicago because they thought it was the right thing to do. And so I want to say thank you to them for that. I also want to talk to you a little bit about your leaders. Erin Lanou chose to go work with CSUSA when they said, we need someone who gets Chicago, who gets charter schools, and who gets these neighborhoods. And so when we talk about the idea of trust and cooperation and care, Erin made the choice to go from where she was comfortable to there because she cares and because she's dedicated and because she's courageous. Then let's talk about your school leaders. I've had the privilege of knowing Lindsay for 9 or 10 or 11 years because she started as a teacher in a CICS campus in Washington Park. And I want to tell you, when she was running the lower school at Washington Park, it had, at that time, the highest outcomes for those grade levels in our network. And so when then she said, I'm ready for the next challenge, she moved from American Quality Schools to Edison Learning to be the assistant principal, and now with CSUSA, because we share a common mission. And so I want to say thanks to Lindsay for being courageous and sticking with us. I think we just saw a video on what Kenyatta Stansberry can do. And I want to tell you that we spent a lot of nights on the phone, sometimes with wine in our individual hands, talking about how we were going to get there. And so I want to tell you all that this year, based on the outcomes at CICS Longwood, that school has been taken off the CPS watch list. And we all know we're not satisfied with that, but it takes a little of the pressure off. But she's changed the culture, she's changed the focus, and she's built a team that is going to change that school and return it to the flagship school that it was when it was opened. So thank you, Kenyatta. Well, Kenyatta helped CSUSA and Erin identify Rodney Hull to come and do the same thing at Larry Hawkins. And I want to tell you that Larry Hawkins and Loomis and Lloyd Bond are pretty special to Erin and to me because we actually co-wrote the applications to open those campuses. So when we saw the struggles at Hawkins and the complexity of the neighborhood, we knew we needed a leader who was courageous and committed and would never give up. And I think when I think about the strides made at Hawkins, I think about my last visit there at the end of the year when everyone was tired, and I'm walking through the halls, and there's some noise in the hallway, which we know earlier in the year was sort of typical. And Rodney walks out, and a young man is doing something silly down the hall, and Rodney, just in his own way, looks down the hall and says, "How do you think I'm going to write you a recommendation to college next year if you're doing all this silliness?" And this young man looks at him, and he's about to shoot back. And then he says, "You're right, I'll go sit my ass down," and walk back in and sat. And that's when I knew we were moving in the right direction. So I want to say thank you to Rodney. And now we have a new leader at Lloyd Bond. And it's, I think it's a little bit more than a coincidence that it's Lloyd night. And I think I got a chance to meet with him earlier in the summer, and I was dazzled by the plans that he has, by the high standards he has for our youngest scholars down there, for the fact that he is not going to allow the complexity of the neighborhood to stop those students from succeeding, that he is going to continue to move that school to a school where all of us would put the children we love. So I want to thank Lloyd for stepping up, for taking on the challenge, and for what's going to happen in the next year. So in my last minute or two, I want to say to the teachers, but you are the lever of change. Think back, for those of you who are old, like me. I don't necessarily remember the principals. Sorry, guys. I remember the teachers. I remember who taught me to read. I remember who yelled at me when I was screwing around. I remember who told me I was a better student than I thought I was. That's all of you. And another reason I believe in CSUSA is because for the first 10 times Sherry and I met, she kept saying, our teachers are our secret sauce. They're the ones who make the difference. You're the ones who will implement to fidelity. You're the ones who will use the data to change your practice. You're the ones that will say hi to every child by name when they walk through that door so that they know they're welcome. You're the ones who will text that parent or call them about the good things, not just the bad things. And you're the ones who will implement restorative justice, which is something for some of our scholars they've never seen before. So I want to say to you, thank you for being dedicated, for being courageous, and for working at a CICS CSUSA campus. So here's my promise to you. This is what we're going to do at the CICS network office this year. The first is we are going to continue to fight hard, fight loudly, and fight every day for equitable funding for our scholars. Because you as teachers and administrators deserve the resources to be able to do your job every day. The second thing I promise is that we're going to continue to advocate so that people know the outstanding work that you're doing in our schools. And we're going to advocate specifically for your campuses. We're going to advocate specifically for CICS, and we're going to counter the anti-charter and anti-reform rhetoric that is out there right now. I promise you that we will be tweeting things like this, we'll be writing letters to the editor, and we will make sure that even these great videos get out and we bring people to your schools to see what you're doing every day, because that will make a difference. I promise we're going to continue to keep, this is for the principals especially, CPS out of your way. I'm going to block and tackle, and we're going to be friends with our authorizers, but we're going to let you do your work the way you know it needs to be done. And the last thing is that we're going to try to raise additional funds and additional partnerships to help with after and out of school programming, to help with fundraising, and to help you have a little fun. So that's what we will do in the central office. In the end, all I want to leave you with is, I so appreciate the work that you do. And I so appreciate your dedication. And Erin talked about the specific goals that we have as a network for this year. But again, to simplify it, our goal as a network is for every school to be a school that we would put children we love in every day and be proud of it. So thank you.